Pleasant good evening and welcome to News Desk, 45 minutes of news from the news and current affairs department here at the Renaissance Communications Incorporated. Today is Thursday, June 4th, 2026. My name is Johnson Gbarntolmah presenting in the headlines. West African Examinations Council, while Liberia confirmed that students were not provided calculators by the institution due to the crisis in the Middle East. Minister of Public Works announces a temporary slowdown in road pavement activities across several parts of Liberia. Plenary of the House of Representatives mandates its committees on good governance and judicial review a proposed bill seeking to amend the law establishing the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment list for short. Away from Liberia, heavy gunfire in Somalia capital as roared over election delay escalates these plus many more. The reading of the news, bulletin sports are all packaged on today's edition of the program. We'll take a break. We'll be back. Many thanks for rejoining us. We are powered by Orange Liberia. At this point, we join Emmanuel Sensee to set the pace for the reading of the news bulletin. Good evening. Good evening, Johnson, and good evening, everyone. The Minister of Public Works has announced a temporary shutdown in road pavement activities across several parts of Liberia as persistent heavy rainfall continues to affect construction operations nationwide. Public Works Minister Roland Guinea said the ongoing rainy season has made it difficult for contractors to carry out certain pavement works, forcing some construction companies to redirect their efforts to more challenging sections of road networks, particularly along corridors connecting Gbarntolmah and River G counties. Speaking in an interview in Monrovia on Thursday, Minister Gideon explained that while asphalt-related road works may be suspended in some areas due to unfavorable weather conditions, infrastructure projects involving concrete construction will continue uninterrupted. The minister disclosed that ongoing works will focus heavily on the installation of covered and other drainages structures designed to improve water flow and prevent flooding along major transportation routes. According to him, strengthening drainage systems during the rainy season is critical to protecting existing roads and ensuring that key highway remain accessible to travelers and commercial traffic. The plenary of the House of Representatives has mandated its committees on good governance and judiciary to review a proposed bill seeking to amend the law establishing the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, commonly known as LACE. The decision was made on Thursday, June 4, 2026, during the House's eighth-day sitting of the second quarter of the third section, following the reading of a communication from President Joseph Walker. In his communication, President Walker said LACE has played a key role in improving the lives of vulnerable communities through social services, infrastructure development, and community driven projects. He noted that new national priorities under the arrest agenda
requires strong institutional capacity, transparency, and accountability. The proposed amendments include the creation of a third deputy executive director for programs and operations, the expansion of Lay's board of directors to include representatives from civil society, development partners, and the legal profession, and the introduction of a board incentives policies. That's policy. The bill also seeks to strengthen financial management by centralizing funds from state-owned enterprise, corporate social responsibility contributions, and concessionaries underlays for improved oversight and reporting. Additionally, the proposed legislation aimed to institutionalize district development funds through mandatory annual budget allocations to support grassroots development and decentralization efforts. The communication was read by the House Chief Clerk and has now been forwarded to the relevant committees for review and recommendation. The head of the National Office of the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, Del Boto, has confirmed that students were not provided calculators by the institution due to what he described as a global crisis involving America and Iraq when contacted today by our reporter. According to him, the institution expects to receive the first batch of calculators this weekend for distribution to schools across the country. Speaking further, Boto stated that the examination process is progressing smoothly despite facing some challenges, noting that every examination process comes with its own issues. However, he expressed satisfaction that examination questions have not leaked ahead of the time. He also called on students to desist from camping practices, warning that anyone caught engaging in such activities could face punishment as the matter is being treated seriously. The white boss disclosed that a total of 57,391 candidates are sitting this year's examination. Following concerns raised regarding statements he allegedly made about the lower house, the House of Representatives has unanimously voted to pass a bill of no confidence in Liberia's ambassador at large for special deputies and special presidential envoy Sheikh Mustafa Kuyate. The decision was reached during a regular sitting of plenary after members considered a communication submitted by Grand Basso County Electoral District to lawmaker Clarence Bank. His communication addressed to the Speaker and members of the House of Representatives, Representative Banks recounted an encounter with Ambassador Kuyate on May 31, 2026 at OKFN, where both men were scheduled to appear as guests on separate segments of the station's morning program. According to Representative Banks, why in the station's guest waiting area, he asked Ambassador Kuyate about his appearance on the program. In response, the ambassador allegedly stated, I did not apologize and would not apologize about my statement on the social media about the House of Representatives. Representative Banks informed plenary that the statement was made in the presence of several OKFN employees and guests, describing the remarks as disgraceful and shameful and detrimental to the cordial working relationship expected between the executive and legislative branches of government. Following the reading of the communication, lawmakers debated the issue with many expressing dissatisfaction over the matter. Following their deliberation, Sino County Electoral District 1 Representative Thomas Romeo Kuya preferred a strong motion calling for the House to formally express its lack of confidence in Ambassador Kuyate. The motion received overwhelming support from members and was subsequently adopted unanimously by plenary. As part of its decision, the House of Representatives has officially communicated its position to the President of Liberia, Joseph Newman Boakai, informing the Chief Executive that members of the House can no longer work with Ambassador Kuyate in his current capacity due to what they described as his continued disrespect and disregard for the institution. Nima County District 7 Representative Musa Hassan Belete has submitted a proposed legislation requesting the legislature's consideration of an act to repeal provisions of the elections law that authorize the exclusion, suspension, deregistration or disqualification of legally registered political parties based solely on their performance in previous elections. In his communication to plenary representability argued that the proposal is grounded in a fundamental democratic principle that the people, not the government, should determine which political parties continue to exist and participate in the democratic process. He emphasized that the Constitution of Liberia guarantees freedom of association, equal protection under the law, political participation, and the right of citizens to form and join political parties. According to him, these constitutional rights should not be questioned or conditioned upon a political party's electoral success or failure in previous elections. The proposed legislation seeks to remove legal provisions that permit sanctions against registered political parties solely on the basis of electoral performance, with the aim of promoting broader political participation and strengthening Liberia's democratic framework. The communication was read by the chief clerk of the House of Representatives. Following deliberation, plenary forwarded the proposed act to its joint committees on elections and inauguration affairs and judiciary for review and analysis. The joint committee has been tasked with conducting a comprehensive review of the proposed legislation and reporting its findings and recommendations to plenary within 1 month. Stakeholders for Liberia's agricultural sector have reaffirmed their commitment to implementing traceability systems aimed at ensuring compliance with the European Union Deforestation Regulation, the EUDR, and improving market access for Liberian agricultural products. Speaking during a day-long meeting of the National Agricultural Traceability Steering Committee, organized by the Liberia Agricultural Commodity Regulatory Authority, LACRA, participants emphasized the importance of collaboration, data collection, and farmer registration to meet international standards. Representatives of the Ministry of Agriculture, among other stakeholders, pledged the government's full support for the implementation of traceability regulations, noting that effective monitoring systems will help improve the quality and competitiveness of Liberia's agricultural commodities. European Union Program Officer Antonio De Clements said the European Union Deforestation Regulation should be viewed as a market opportunity rather than a trade barrier. He noted that with the right reforms, Liberia's farmers can secure and expand their access to Europe's premium markets, adding that the European Union remains committed to supporting Liberia's efforts to achieve compliance. Meanwhile, Acting Director General of LACRA, Dan Sai, emphasized that the discussions surrounding the European Union Deforestation Regulation should focus on the welfare of Liberia's farmers rather than political debates. He added that the regulation is important not only for government institutions, multinational companies, or agricultural officials, but also for smallholder farmers who depend on agriculture for their livelihoods. Former Monserrate County District 8 Representative Akara's Moses Gray has predicted a first round victory for the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change, or CDC, in the 2029 presidential and legislative elections. Speaking Wednesday at a public engagement hosted by the Forum for the Promotion of Intellectual Development, known as FOBE, in Sincor, Gray said the CDC remains a strong political force despite its defeats in the 2023 elections. According to Gray, the party is well positioned to regain state power and will massively win the 2029 polls without the need for a runoff election. The former lawmaker further claimed that President Joseph Boakai could leave office following the inauguration of a new administration in 2030. Gray also expressed confidence in his own political future, saying he expects to reclaim the Monserrate County District a seat in the next legislative elections. He said his participation in the FOPID forum was part of his commitment to engaging citizens on national issues and speaking out on challenges facing the country. The Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission has officially presented a joint assessment report to President Joseph Walker, highlighting the growing influx of Burkinabes in Grenjide and Refugee counties. El Tribrasi's Executive Director Anthony Jericho Bungalo disclosed that the report estimates that approximately 140,000 Burkinabe migrants are currently residing in southeastern Liberia, mainly engaged in mining and agricultural activities. Receiving the report, President Barker directed that the report be submitted to Cabinet for further national security and policy consideration. The assessment was conducted jointly by the LRRC, the French Embassy, UNFPA, the United Nations Human Rights Office, the International Organizations for Migration, and the Liberia Immigration Service. Stakeholders and development partners are expected to review the report's recommendations to support a coordinated national response. The Liberian National Police, in collaboration with the President of Liberia, has commenced a 2-day training workshop on security media relations aimed at strengthening cooperation between law enforcement officers and media practitioners. The training being held under the theme Strengthening Police Media Partnership, Understanding Police Administration for Responsible Public Safety Reporting and National Security brings together police officers, journalists, and communication professionals to enhance mutual understanding and foster effective collaboration in public safety reporting. Giving an overview of the program, Assistant Commissioner of Police Blessings Myers noted that the workshop seeks to provide participants with a deeper understanding of police administration, security operations, and the critical role of the media in promoting accurate, balanced, and responsive reporting on security related issues. Speaking at the opening section, PEL President Julius Kanumba emphasized the importance of a strong partnership between the police and the media in maintaining public trust, promoting transparency, and supporting national security efforts. He noted that responsible journalism and effective police communication are essential to ensuring that citizens receive timely and accurate information during emergencies and other public safety situations. Meanwhile, speaking on behalf of Police General, Deputy Inspector General of Police for Administration, William Morba, said the workshop was a fulfillment of R.G. Coleman promised during the celebration of World Press Freedom Day, featuring enthusiasts, presentations, discussions, and interactive sections designed to improve communication channels between the police and the media while addressing challenges often encountered in reporting security matters. And in foreign news, government forces and opposition fighters have exchanged heavy gunfire in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, as a run over delays to elections has escalated. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud's term in office ended on 15 May, but was extended by a year. The opposition said this was unconstitutional and called for protest on Thursday. Gunfire was reported in several neighborhoods of the capital and persisted throughout the night, according to accounts by residents.
Emmanuel Sensee and the news bulletin is a regular feature here on NewsDesk. Let's break it up first. Development on the program. The Ministry of Public Works has announced a temporary slowdown in road pavement activities across several parts of Liberia as persistent heavy rainfall continues to affect construction operations nationwide. Public Works Minister Warren Gideon said the ongoing rainy season has made it difficult for constructors to carry out certain pavement works. We'll be bringing you that episode in our subsequent broadcast. Let's bring you this development here on the Torgbean News Desk. The plenary of the House of Representatives has mandated its Committee on Good Governance Judiciary to review a proposed bill seeking to amend the law establishing the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, commonly known as LACE. The decision was made on Tuesday, that's Thursday, May 4th, that's June 4th, 2026, during the was 8 day sitting of the second quarter of the third section, following the reading of a communication from President Joseph Boakai. In his communication, President Boakai said this has played a key role in improving the lives and vulnerable communities through social services, infrastructure development, and community-driven projects. He noted that new national priorities on the agenda require stronger institutional capacity, transparency, and accountability. The communication was read by the House Chief Clerk, Maitre Sion.
Here with for the consideration of the Honorable Legislature, the bill title and act to amend Chapter 50 of the new executive law that the 12 of the Liberian Code of Law requires, creating the Liberian Agency for Community Empowerment. As you may be aware, since its establishment, it has served as an important instrument for improving the living standards of underprivileged communities through the provision of basic social services, generating infrastructure, and community-driven development initiatives. However, emerging national priorities on the agenda, along with the need for stronger institutional capacity, transparency, and accountability, necessitates amendments to the lead item. The proposed amendment act seeks to strengthen governance and institutional capacity by introducing new leadership and oversight mechanisms. This includes the creation of a third deputy executive director for program and operations to ensure effective supervision of field projects and donor coordination. It also proposes reconstituting the board of directors to broaden representation, incorporating a legal professional for the enhancement of compliance and accountability for society, NGOs, and development partners. Moreover, a board incentives policy is suggested to attract and retain qualified individuals for strategic governance roles. The proposed amendment also includes as a key component financial management reforms. It calls for centralizing corporate social responsibility, funds from state-owned enterprises and concessionaires on a list for standardized management and transparent reporting. It also recommends redesignating the finance director to align financial functions with money accountability centers. Furthermore, the institutionalization of district development funds through mandatory annual allocations in the national budget is highlighted as a way to ensure predictable grassroots financing and reinforce the government's decentralization agenda. Operational efficiency and accountability are addressed as well through the introduction of the cost capping requiring a 10% allocations in all funding agreements to cover monitoring, supervision, and administrative oversight. This measure is intended to ensure quality assurance and prevent misuse of public funds. Honorable Speaker, collectively these reforms represent a critical step towards reinforcing the government's decentralization agenda and aims to build stronger governance structures, improve financial transparency, enhance institutional capacity to deliver development outcomes, and ensure that resources are managed efficiently and effectively.
The voice of Madam Madria Sion, she is the chief clerk at the Liberian Senate there speaking. The head of the National Office of the West African Examinations Council, WAEC, Dabotu, has confirmed that students were not provided calculators by the institution due to what he described as a global crisis involving America and Iran. According to him, the institution expects to receive the first batch of calculators this weekend for distribution to schools across the country. He noted that the examination process is progressing smoothly despite facing some challenges, noting that every examination process comes with its own issues.
Practice which supports straight on the five objective works. We presently went incident working along with the Ministry of Education, we all the schools and students are allowed to take the all posts and prepare computers while we have struggled to do the mathematics over there, the mathematics and the confident for the next test. The question is it because of poor preparation from your institution? It is not poor preparation. What happened is over class have been cancelled almost more on a daily basis. Really, it's a because material you expected in your model cancer, material that are similar cancer, they are coming today and black is back into the country. There's no preparation. I am happening with that is over the black preparation. And you can show it on the company that the calculator will be distributed to student families. That's why we have our to was. Yeah, hopefully, I was fast with the country or the treatment will start after the solution. Mr. Boto said that the first one, traces people wanted to, and also mathematics people wanted to. We also so like for except that the test is going well, we are fully aware every test has its own challenges and its own issues, especially when it comes to examination matter. But we look at the all aspect of having that no one can come out and say the test can be in the hands of the public will be tired to be in terms of literature comporting aspect of it. So my assessment or assessment is that why they feel that there are some forms of examination malpractice which is not it's not unique to the wild lesson because almost every test, even the ordinary practice test, teachers and lesson in some form of examination malpractice, we are stepping up our games to ensure that we can eradicate examination malpractice submitted to the parents.
First off, Boto, he is the head of the National Office for the West African Examinations Council WAEC. They're speaking via mobile phone to our reporter Daniel Soni. Following concerns raised regarding stipends allegedly made about the lower house, the House of Representatives has voted to pass a vote of no confidence in Liberia's ambassador alert for special duties and special presidential envoy Sheikh Mustafa Kuyate. The decision was reached during a regular sitting of the plenary after members considered the communication submitted by Grand Bassa County Electoral District 2 Representative Clarence Benz in his communication address to Speaker Richard Coon and members of the House of Representatives. Representative Benz recounted an encounter with Ambassador Kouyaté on May 31st, 2026 on OKFM, where both men were scheduled to appear as guests on separate segments of that's the station morning show. According to Representative Benz, while in the station's guest waiting area, he asked Mustafa Kouyaté about his appearance on the program. In response, the ambassador allegedly stated, I didn't apologize and will not apologize for my statement on the social media about the House of Representatives. Representative Clarence Ben informed plenary that the statement was made in the presence of several Oak-11 employees and guests, describing the statement as disgraceful and shameful, and the statement was read by the statement was read to the Senate during a debate issue by many expressing disappointment over the matter.
Distinguished colleagues, let me appreciate our thanks for bringing this package. I think beyond all visible doubts, I would like to address the legitimate question and so-called ambassador because we know the role of an ambassador. An ambassador is not an activist. An ambassador is the expression of that from our norms, all ambassadors. And I would recommend that we tell the president to take back with this the president of the they will not expect the one who is paying to solve us. And then we have to fight. As far as concerned, in the foreign country or the constitution to fight it, a positive image of this country. But to see an ambassador who will sit and use his or her title as an ambassador in this country, try to discredit this legislation to outdo and also the government and the United States in which said ambassador is a member of. I think such a thing is disappointing. We should take this consideration each and every one of what we are saying. To use your legislation, we have a role to Nigerian people. And I of the view that the ambassador came here and met leadership. And I remember there's a speaker who tried to Mussolini on that totally. No one prefers the ambassador. No one provides the home of the ambassador, but the ambassador came under the pretense in the sky of a field to this body. But because of the second, to give the mission, instead of moving pastoring around and don't be untouchable, even God, Mr. Speaker, called to resign the police out of the justice time that legislation needs to taking the necessary decision that will ensure that our about the asset or share or whatever they call it, but every other person to be the compound will learn how to conduct and shine when they have the authority to serve the people.
That's voices of lawmakers. They're debating on today following their deliberations. Sano County Electoral District 1 Representative Thomas Remoquia preferred a strong motion calling for the House to formally express its lack of confidence in Ambassador Koyate.
Police because of the state the motion is by the corner of the pastor, who publicly made great allegations against the national institution, the level of risk of corruption, particularly matters relating to granting of concessions and concession agreements. Recognizing the seriousness of this allegation, the need to uphold transparency and accountability, honesty of the people body, the legislation cannot remain silent when its institutional integrity is being subjected to disrespect and attack by a public official who has failed to substantiate the allegations. The lyrics that they decided the opportunity equality to correct the public record and as we said, the said children to testify is conduct. So, the branch of the respect cooperation with the point and all the quality branches of the teacher of the so it's not recognize and also see other than yes.
Also, Thomas Remoquia, he is Sano County Electoral District 1 Representative. They're speaking of today after debating by lawmakers for the vote of no confidence passed against Liberia's ambassador allied for special duties and special presidential envoy Sheikh Mustafa Koyate. At this point, let's now bring you the Passion of Black Sports here with Naomi Tapia. Good evening.
Welcome to the Passion of Black Sports. The leadership and organizing committee of the Sports Weather Association of Nigeria Awards 2026 has informed the public that there was ceremony originally scheduled for Friday, June 5, 2026, actually scheduled for Friday, June 12, 2026. The decision, according to a release from the leadership and organizing committee, was reached following consultation with key stakeholders and is intended to allow for additional preparations that would ensure a more successful and memorable event. The leadership said in a release that they sincerely regret any inconvenience. The change because and appreciate the public's understanding and continued support. Three city schools and provided an assist as Charlotte Independence secured a 5-1 away victory over FC Naples on Wednesday night. It was also his fourth start in 7 appearances for the USL League One side since joining on a free transfer in February. The Conference of the reported that the 33-year-old has now registered 5 contributions in his last 4 league matches, scoring 2 goals and providing 3 assists. Away from Liberia, Brighton are expecting Tottenham to repair with another bid for defender Ben Hart after rejecting the initial offer. Ben Hart, who is part of the Netherlands World Cup squad, has a year left on his contract, and News Sports boss Roberto Zerbi is keen to be reunited with the 25-year-old after working with him at Brighton. Brighton signed Ben Hart from Eredivisie outfit Reader in 2020 for a relatively modest sum. Is reported to be valued now by Brighton at €70 million after loan spells at Herving and Blackburn Rovers. The centre back has gone on to make more than one appearances for Brighton, including 36 starts in the Premier League last term. Chief Executive Paul Barber was placed in charge of outgoing transfers by Brighton in the wake of the unexpected exit of sporting director Jason Hato, which was confirmed on Wednesday. Brighton are known for their hardline bargaining stance, having received fees in excess of €50 million from Moises Caicedo, Marco Gorilla, and João Pedro in recent years. And also their forward planning, given Vinhard's contract situation, it is likely backward, and Una Tune have a contingency in mind if a deal is eventually agreed. And finally, FIFA has been warned it is putting fans at risk by introducing a bottle ban at this summer's World Cup. Fans will not be allowed to take reusable water bottles into World Cup stadiums due to safety concerns, FIFA said in a late policy change. The official stadium code of conduct previously stated for the avoidance of doubt, empty, transparent, reusable plastic bottles up to 1 liter in capacity will be brought into the stadium, but even days before the tournament kicks off on 11 June, bottles along with cups, jars, and cans have been prohibited, with FIFA saying it will lower the risks of injury caused by fans throwing missiles, but experts have criticized the new term, with one saying the ban would clearly heighten the risk of heat-related health incidents. In May, scientists warned that FIFA's heat safety measures for the tournament are inadequate as temperatures at 14 of the 16 host venues are set to exceed dangerous levels. Fans were also prevented from taking bottles into stadiums at the last World Cup in Qatar. That's all from you.
Naomi Tapia and the world of sports, regular feature here on News Desk. Let's bring you this debate on the program. The Ministry of Public Works has announced a temporary slowdown in road paving activities across several parts of Liberia as persistent heavy rain continues to affect construction operations nationwide. Now listening to Roland Giddens, his Public Works Minister. Payments have been done to some of the very stabilized the place that's required for concrete. You can go ahead and do that, but there won't be much that you can do, especially if you ask for which is obviously shut down because you won't be able to do that. So we get to the point where some of the projects will be falling out slowly because of the rain. But what's going to happen is we're hoping that we're going to keep the corridors, so we'll keep open. We have small challenge now between River G and current care and surgery. How we can the contractor is preparing to move in there quickly to be able to resolve that. We have a small problem with it. There's a section there that has generated into City Mission 1 Casa. That's the voice of Public Works Minister Roden Giddens there speaking. Stakeholders from Liberia's agriculture sector have reaffirmed their commitment to implementing the traceability systems in ensuring compliance with the European Union deforestation regulation. Speaking during a day-long meeting of the National Agriculture Traceability Steering Committee, organized by the Liberia Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority, participants emphasized the importance of collaboration, data collection, and farming registration to meet international standards. If we look around today to see what is happening, we ourselves are the cause of the problem that is right now. The Ministry of
reported is in full support of implementing these regulations to see to it that our people have the best. And we will work together to see how we all can gather the things necessary in terms of looking to our cocoa, coffee, and rubber producing blocks of the country. I'm asking to you. I'm ready to the police project which for so we are into the cocoa and oil farm, and by the using the arrow is going to help our farm to improve the work of the farmers of the livelihood of the farmers in Liberia agricultural sector. Understanding the needs of the wise. Without accurate farmer registration, GPS mapping, reliable data validation, it is not possible to produce a credible data.
Voices of stakeholders from Liberia's agriculture sector there speaking. The program officer of the European Union is Antonio Disment, who also made these remarks.
India is a market company, not a very big. But with the right resource, Liberia's farmers cannot luckily access to Europe's market. And the EU is here to support to help make that happen.
That's a representative of the European Union who also served as the program officer there speaking. Lakra Acting Director General is Densai, who also spoke the occasion.
It's a pleasure coming here today to compete, to make an argument about issues that concern not just us in government, not just people officials who are farmers, not just for multinational groups that are involved into the competition of our hard crops, but simply for those farmers who go through rainy season to work for us, for those farmers who try to make use of the soil, of the water, how ways to make sure that they have better yield.
The voice of Densai, he is the acting Director General at the Liberia Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority. They're speaking during a day-long meeting in Monrovia with stakeholders in the agriculture sector. Earlier on, you heard the voices of some participants. The Liberia National Police, in collaboration with the Press Union of Liberia, has commenced a two-day training workshop on security and media relations strengthening cooperation between law enforcement officers and media practitioners. Giving an overview of the program, Assistant Commissioner of Police Blessing Myers noted that the workshop seeks to provide participants with a deeper understanding of police administration.
Yes, police action and sometimes they misunderstood. This capital or reported to unadequate identification. This has led to public confusion, misinformation, and heightened public information. In addition, the rapid growth of social media and following the information carried with robust fake and unverified fake often spread aspects of the verified.
Also speaking during the opening of the session, PUL President Julius Kanuma emphasized the importance of a stronger partnership between the police and the media.
Speaking of lights from my lights the umbrella organization, journalists, media institutions in Liberia. The union is a training union of professional organizations that advances journalists' rights, the rights of media institutions, press freedom, freedom of speech, and expression, and development of political democracy in Liberia. One of the fundamental core responsibilities of the PUL focuses on advancing the capacity of journalists, media institutions. To achieve that, this task, we do build partnership. Today's training to the continue on tomorrow is a part of social partnership with the Liberian activities.
The voice of Julius Kanuma, he is the president of the Press Union of Liberia. And he was speaking on behalf of Police Inspector General, Deputy Inspector General of Police for Administration, William Moba said the workshop was as a fulfillment of RG Como Turkish during the celebration of World Press Freedom Day. That's the voice of William Moba. He is the Deputy Inspector General of Police for Administration. Earlier on, he had the voice of Julius Kanuma. He is the President of the Press Union of Liberia. Nima County District 7 Representative Musa Hassan Bereti submitted a proposed legislation requesting the legislature consideration of an act to repeal provisions of the election law that authorize the exclusion, suspension, deregistration, or disqualification of locally or legally registered political parties based solely on their performance in previous elections. In his communication to plenary, Representative Benetti argued that the proposal is grounded in a fundamental democratic principle that the people, not the government, should determine which political parties continue to exist and participate in the democratic process. He emphasized that the Constitution of Liberia guarantees freedom of association, equal participation, and right under the law, political participation, and the right of citizens to form and join political parties. His communication was read by the chief clerk of the House of Representatives. We hope to bring you that excerpt in our subsequent broadcast. For this, I will go home on today's edition of the program News Text as we take leave of you a recap of our headlines. Ministry of Public Works announces a temporary slowdown in road pavement activities across several parts of the country. Plenary of the House of Representatives mandates its Committee on Good Governance and Judiciary to review a proposed bill seeking to amend the law establishing the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment. West African Examinations Council WAEC confirms that students were not provided calculators by the institution due to the crisis in the Middle East. Away from Liberia, heavy gunfire in Somalia carried as war over election delay escalates. We'd love to say many thanks to our writers, contributors, correspondents who made today's edition of the program a success. Special thanks to affiliate radio station that relayed this broadcast. Thanks to Orange Liberia for their sponsorship. Emmanuel Sensee was here with the reading of the news bulletin, while Naomi Tapia brought to us the personal sports. Yampi Daniel Dazi has had a control and handled the technical aspect this program. Thanks to Maya Torban, who stream live on Real TV and closing argument on behalf of the news team. Abandoned presenter Johnson Gbarntolmah. Good night.